Hello YouTube. Here's a Dell WD15 laptop dock I've been using for a couple months now that I thought I would make a review on. It's about $130 brand new from Newegg or Amazon, and I've enjoyed it so far, so I thought I'd give you my thoughts. So to start, you've got a power button right here which integrates with your laptop, of course. You can use it to turn on and off. It's got a little lock port for security if you're interested. Now you've got an HDMI, a DisplayPort, VGA, Gigabit Ethernet, two USB 2.0s, which is perfectly fine for keyboards and mice, a USB 3.0, the power plug, and what they call a line out port. Honestly, not sure what that does. And on the front, you've got a couple more USB 3.0s and a combination headphone jack. And of course, the port is USB style C. This cable is about 3 or 4 feet long, with DisplayPort integrated, of course. So this cable doesn't supply power to the laptop, of course. When you're using your laptop with it, you have to actually plug the laptop in directly versus the dock supplying power, which is one advantage that snap-in docks would have over this, but I'll go into the details as to why I like this dock more in a little bit. Now it uses about 5 watts average according to Dell's documentation, which really isn't too much. And they also say it requires proper drivers to work properly, but I've plugged this thing straight into my laptop running Ubuntu Linux or my other laptop running Windows 10. I haven't had any issues whatsoever, so I really don't think you need that. And I did notice this cable does sit a little bit loose, and the port wiggles a little bit. It's never come disconnected on me, so I don't really have any complaints, but still is a little bit unsettling right there. You can actually remove this cable. If you go ahead and, I think you might pull these guys out, I'm not entirely sure. It's in the documentation. You can actually pull this USB-C cable out and put a new one in if it were to break for whatever reason. I'm not sure if you can put any different style connectors in there. I don't think so, but good to know, I guess. Now, the DisplayPort that this thing takes is about 10.8 gigabits throughput. So that's 2 DisplayPort lanes, and the documentation says that you can use certain display configurations with this. If you're using one display, you get 4K at 30 Hertz. 30 Hertz isn't super buttery, it would look a little bit choppy, but hey, it can do 4K. At 2 displays, you can do 1080p a piece at 60 Hertz, which is pretty standard. I imagine a lot of people use that configuration. But for 3 displays, you can do 1024 by 1280, or rather 1280 by 1024 displays at 60 Hertz, which is like those old 4x3 square monitors that you see, which isn't awesome, but hey, it works. I've actually broken these limits. I use a Dell laptop, I think it's a Precision 50 or 7510, and what I do is actually use these 3 displays here, one of which is 1440, the other 2 are 1080, but I plug in 2 of the displays here, one through a mini DisplayPort with an adapter to normal DisplayPort, and one over HDMI, but then I plug in my 3rd display into my laptop. Because you know what, these limitations aren't amazing, but if you're going to be like me and use 3 displays at once, you can probably have the space to plug in one of your video cables to your laptop instead of the dock. I just plugged this thing into a Dell Inspiron 15700 series, and it doesn't do all 3 displays. Super nice. I was hoping I could get 2 1080s and a 1440 out of it at lower refresh rate, but it looks like the documentation is pretty much correct. You can really only get a couple of 1080s or maybe one 1440 and one 1080 actually plugged into the dock. But again, if you really want that 3 display performance, I really recommend just plugging 2 into the dock and 1 into your laptop directly, and you'll be able to get that just fine. But don't plan on using like 3 1080s or 2 4Ks for this thing, because you're not going to get quite that. But considering the fact that all this is going over one silly little cable, I'd say it's pretty impressive. Now, one of the reasons why I really like this is because it's so much more compatible with laptops than traditional snap-in docks, which actually saves you a lot of money because you don't need to buy a laptop that's snap-in enabled, because usually snap-in laptops are super expensive because they're more business grade. You can get the Dell, not the Dell Precisions, but Dell Inspiron series that even supports the stock just fine. But you still need DisplayPort over USB-C, of course, which not all laptops have. So it's really a good idea to check your documentation to whatever laptop you want to get this thing for and make sure that it actually is compatible. So overall, I do really like this thing. I didn't pay for it myself, of course, but I think it would be a good deal for $130 as long as you can understand what it can and can't do. I think it's definitely a pretty good deal, and yeah, I would totally recommend it for anyone who's looking to buy it. So hopefully this review was at least partially helpful, and thank you all for watching.